from home period extended till the 20th of April. 7 more COVID-19 patients identified during the last 24 hours. 7 arrested for disseminating misinformation on social media. OPEC slashes crude oil output by 10%, the largest ever recorded.
Hello there, a very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. I'm Charlotte Benedict for the News First team. Let's start off with a look at those stories in detail. Now, the number of people infected with COVID-19 in the country has risen to 210 after 7 new patients were identified yesterday.
Among the newly confirmed infections are an individual who associated with a woman at the airport cleaning section, a nurse attached to the Sri Jayawardhanapura hospital, an individual from Suduwela Jayala, 3 people from the quarantine centre in the eastern province and 1 person from the Punai quarantine centre. The new infected patients identified yesterday include 2 females and 5 males. The Ministry of Health said that 7 patients tested positive for the virus while they were in quarantine. A total of 56 people who were infected with COVID-19 have recovered. Ministry of Health noted that 147 patients are currently under observation in hospitals across the country. Sri Lanka has had 7 COVID-19 related deaths in the country. Another 52 people who maintain close connections with 28 people who were previously taken to the custody of the Sri Lankan Navy and sent for quarantine in Suduwela Jayala have also been sent for quarantine. Meanwhile, 27 people who were attached to the Ragama and Valisad hospitals were sent to the quarantine centres in Mulankavila in Mannar by the Sri Lankan Navy.
Now, 7 people who spread false information relating to COVID-19 on social media platforms have been arrested during the past 48 hours.
Police said the arrests were made following the operations carried out by the Criminal Investigations Department from the 10th of this month. 2 suspects were arrested on the 10th of this month in the Beligala and Katugastor area. They were remanded until the 22nd of this month after being produced before the Colombo Chief Magistrate. Police said 4 other suspects were arrested from Valimada, Kadawatha and Ragama on the 11th of this month. They were remanded till the 16th after being produced in courts. 1 suspect who was arrested in the Nochiagama is due to be produced before the courts today. 16 people have been arrested in total thus far for circulating false information relating to COVID-19 on social media platforms.
The work from home period declared both for the public and the private sectors has been extended to the 20th of April. Now, the announcement was made for employees attached to the state and private sectors. The notice issued by the Presidential Secretariat said the people should work according to regulations issued by the government. Now, curfew imposed in the Colombo, Gambaha, Kalutara, Putlam, Kandy and Jaffna districts will be in effect until further notice. The curfew imposed on the rest of the 19 districts will be lifted at 6 a.m. on the 16th and will be reimposed on the same day at 4 p.m. The government requests the general public to act with a sense of understanding and responsibility on disruptions to their daily lives that may occur during the curfew. There are no restrictions imposed on engaging in cultivation and production of goods for export and also fishing activities. Except for essential services, travel between districts are also prohibited. The Presidential Secretariat noted that strict legal action will be taken against those who misuse the exceptions in place to maintain essential services efficiently. Now, in some Crime Watch news, a person was stabbed to death in Valikumbura, Balangoda today.
A 36-year-old resident in Valakumbura, Balangoda was murdered following an altercation. According to the Balangoda police, a relative of the victim had stabbed him with a knife. The police further added that the deceased and his relative had been living in the same household and that their relations were strained. The deceased, who suffered critical injuries from the knife attack, succumbed to his injuries after he was admitted to the Colombo National Hospital. The suspect of the murder was produced before the Balangoda Magistrate Court and was remanded until the 23rd of this month.
12 ventilators repaired by the engineering faculty of the Peradeniya University were handed over to the Deputy Director General of Health Services, Dr. Amal Harsha de Silva. Vice-Chancellor of the Peradeniya University, Professor Uppal Dissanayake, also attended the event. The ventilators have been valued at 2 million rupees. The engineering faculty of the Peradeniya University has expressed their willingness to repair any damaged ventilators in hospitals across the country. Now, the Dambulla Municipal Council has decided to file legal action against a businessman and 3 others for hiding essential food items, including dal. The mayor of Dambulla said that a stock of essential food items were found hidden inside a storage facility at the Dambulla Economic Centre. He added that the storage facility was searched and essential items such as dal and dry fish were found inside. They were stored with other items such as soap and mosquito repellents. The dry fish and other food items were not suitable for human consumption. The Dambulla Municipal Council said that steps will be taken to file legal action against 4 people, including a businessman who were involved in maintaining the storage facility. Action will be filed against hiding essential food items and storing and selling expired food items. Now, 3-wheelers are one of the most commonly used modes of transportation in Sri Lanka. However, 3-wheel drivers in the current situation in Colombo and across the island are facing severe financial hardships. This is a report filed by Newsfirst, Chaturadesha.
Even though this area is empty at the moment, on a regular day, this place is a 3-wheeler stand. It has been a life struggle for 3-wheeler drivers to make a living while nationwide curfew is in place.
There are more than 100,000 3-wheeler drivers in the limits of the Colombo municipality. Their jobs are at a risk due to the prevailing situation, and they are facing severe hardships as a result of not having an alternative method to earn their daily wage.
It is very difficult for us to take care of our family due to the prevailing situation. I can't afford to buy a packet of milk powder for my child.
We
haven't had hires since this curfew was imposed. We don't have any other means of income. We are desperate right now. I have 2 children. I can't afford to buy their medicine. Because of the curfew imposed by the government, we have lost our businesses. They haven't given any concessions to us either.
The Presidential Task Force on Essential Services says that individuals recommended to be given the Samruddhi benefit who are on the waiting list will be given 5,000 rupee allowance starting from the 15th of next month.
Presidential Task Force on Essential Services stated that steps have been taken to send the relevant funds to the respective district secretaries. The task force further stated that the 5,000 rupee allowance will be distributed through committees established at the rural level. Presidential Task Force on Essential Services further stated that according to the recommendations of these committees, school van drivers, 3-wheeler drivers and self-employed individuals will be given the allowance in the future.
At a time when the world has been battered by the COVID-19 outbreak, we came across a group of children who set an example to the rest of the world.
35 students are residing at the Thaltavila Youth Centre in Mathura. The youth centre is operated under the guidance of the chief of the Metta Buddhi Centre, Venerable Valapitiya Ratanasiri Himi. The youth centre is maintained through donation received from Sri Lankans living abroad. These days, school children have a lot of free time on their hands because of school holidays. Ratanasiri Thera had instructed the children to start a home garden to break the monotonous nature of being confined to youth centre. We started with children planting vegetables and fruit. The actions of these children who live without the love and care of their own parents are an example to the whole world.
We have only a few more hours left for the dawn of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. Here are a list of auspicious times that have been set for the age-old traditions practiced here in Sri Lanka in line with the New Year.
The Sinhala and Tamil New Year dawns at 8:23 p.m. The inauspicious time, or the Nonagate of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, begins at 1:59 p.m. today and lasts until 2:47 a.m. tomorrow. According to astrologers, people should consume food before 1:59 p.m. today and engage in religious observances. The auspicious time to prepare meals is at 10:05 p.m. Meals should be prepared wearing white and facing the east. The auspicious time for starting work, transactions and partaking in meals is at 10:43 p.m. on the 13th of April, facing east and dressed in white. The auspicious time for anointing of oil is at 9:17 a.m. on the 15th of April. The ritual should be performed facing east. The auspicious time to plant a sapling has been set at 11:38 a.m. on the 19th of April. This ritual should be performed facing south, dressed in red or yellow. How do you perform these rituals while confined to your home? I think we will never forget this New Year that we will be celebrating. To make this New Year celebration a memorable one, let's respect humanity and human relationships. At this time, when love is overflowing in the society, this is a good time for us to comprehend and understand the true meaning of these celebrations. We request everyone to plant a tree at the auspicious time of setting off to work. You will be fulfilling a great responsibility towards this earth.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, in his New Year message, wished the general public a peaceful, joyful, prosperous and a healthy period for the country.
The President in his message wrote, I quote, "The Sinhala and Tamil New Year that dawns with the transition of the sun can be considered as a period of cheerfulness, harmony and development of mutual relationships. Nevertheless, a virus that has spread across the world has entered our motherland, and as a result, presently we are facing the most devastating situation since the era of our ancestors." Unquote. He adds that rituals of the New Year that we practiced with utmost honor and commitment since a very long time can still be conducted at the auspicious times, but restricted to family members. The President adds we have entered an era where the need to interrogate with the environment is much felt. The President also says even though there are limitations to celebrate New Year festivals at this time, we as adults must create an environment for children to experience the cheerfulness of this season. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa in his message for the New Year states that we must remind ourselves that we have to spend these New Year days as per the strict health directives which have been formulated to safeguard the health of our people and nation. He adds, however, that even in these difficult and trying circumstances, I'm sure we can appreciate the true meaning of the New Year. His message goes on to say this year, while remaining in our homes, we can also sustain and strengthen our age-old customs and traditions through simple celebrations carried out with equanimity. Such celebrations, no doubt, will bring joy and contentment that has been a cornerstone in our nation's sustenance, as reflected in our history. The Prime Minister said the value of our national aspirations based on our centuries-old traditions and customs would be felt at this time more than at any other time in history. Leader of the Samagya Jana Balawegaya, Sajith Premadasa, added wishes for the New Year with the hope of a healthy nation. Sajith Premadasa in his message highlighted the importance of social distancing and added that next year's New Year celebrations would no doubt be prosperous. He also praised the health sector, media and those who provide other essential services for their contributions made towards the welfare of the country.
The Malbatu chapter of the Siam sect, the Asgiri chapter, the Ramanya chapter and along with the Mahasangha extended their wishes for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year today.
තමන්ගේ නිවෙස්වලට සිට ආගමික චාරිත්‍රවලට සිදු කරන්න රෝගාබාධයන්ගෙන් මේ අවස්ථාවේදී ලංකාව පීඩිතව වෙනවා ඒ නිසායි. නිසා බුද්ධිමත්ව කල්පනාකාරීව දවස ගත කිරීමට හැමදේම හිතාගත යුතුයි.
අලුත් අවුරුදු උදාව අපි අපේක්ෂා කරන දෙයක්
The Sinhala and Tamil New Year is a festival all of us are looking forward to. Both the clergy and the laymen have always tried to celebrate this festival in an exuberant manner. But due to the prevailing situation in the country, we have no choice but to carry out these traditions and customs at our homes as responsible citizens of this country. Especially, there is no opportunity to engage in religious activities at your nearest temples. We have been advised not to encourage masses to gather at public places.
අපට උපදෙස් ලැබී තිබෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ අවුරුද්දේ ඒ සතුට බලාපොරොත්තුව වෙන්න බෑ.
This year, we cannot expect people to be joyful. It is good to wish for the well-being of others. Priority should not be given to the customs this new year. Priority should be given to following the instructions given by health authorities and adhering to the disease prevention program. Do not be in a festival mentality at this critical time. If you gather at places and visit your relatives, the quarantine procedure could be hampered. As a result, the people will suffer when this virus further spreads. We have to be responsible and not lead the entire country into chaos by carrying out New Year traditions and customs.
අප කවුරුත් වග බලාගත යුතුයි.
ඉතිහාසයේ කිසිම දායකවත් නොසිතූ අයුරින්
We have to think about how to celebrate this new year because this year it is different from any other year in the history of our country. We ask everyone to celebrate the new year at home like you celebrated Bakpoya.
සමර ගන්න හැටියට අපි හැම දෙනාගෙම ඉතාමත් ඕනෙකමින් ඉල්ලා හිටිනවා.
Our resolve during these trying times are of utmost importance. It determines the actions that we take and in turn the consequences that we will have to face in the future. Now, to rally around the people of our country under one flag as one nation and to spread the message of hope of better times that will come in the future, we released the Nagitimu Sri Lanka song, and the response from the general public as well as other media organizations here in Sri Lanka was immense. Here are a few of the responses that we received from you, our viewers.
අඳුරු වලාපට අතරින් හිනහි නැගිටිමු ශ්‍රී ලංකා
දියසක සංකා බාධක අතරින් නැගිටිමු ශ්‍රී ලංකා
හිතමු ඉදිරියම කවන්න හැම නැගිටිමු ශ්‍රී ලංකා හෙට ඉදිවන නව ලෝකය හමුවේ නැගිටිමු ශ්‍රී ලංකා Sri Lanka, Nagitimu Sri Lanka. Kisidano venas minisat guna piripun rata Sri Lanka. Meran bhumiye urumaya apage rakagamu Sri Lanka. Idiriya gana ekvi අපසිතුවොත් දැකගන්නට ලංකා දුරුවී ව්‍යසන අප ඉදිරියේ ඇති බාධක ජයගන්වා නැගිටිමු ශ්‍රී ලංකා අපි නැගිටිමු ශ්‍රී ලංකා
ගම්මැද්ද නැගිටිමු ශ්‍රී ලංකා.
Now, moving on to take a look at the global situation of the COVID-19 outbreak, the death rate in Italy and France, two of the worst affected countries by the coronavirus, appears to be slowing down. Meanwhile, China reported its highest number of new daily cases in almost 6 weeks yesterday. The number of people confirmed to have the disease across the world rose beyond 1.8 million.
Out of the 108 new cases yesterday in China, 98 were imported, triggering fears that infected travelers could cause a second wave of the virus. The Chinese city of Wuhan, which was the epicenter of the virus, only earlier last week reopened after 11 weeks in lockdown. The country also saw 2 deaths yesterday. China has imposed restrictions on the publication of academic research on the origins of the novel coronavirus, according to a central government directive and online notices published by 2 Chinese universities that have since been removed from the web. Italy has ordered migrants and refugees on board a rescue ship off its coast to be quarantined on another vessel to test them for the coronavirus before allowing them to disembark. Italians on Easter Sunday were creatively adapting a new way of life a month into a nationwide lockdown to curb the spread of the novel coronavirus. France has reported a drop in coronavirus deaths on the previous 24 hours, with the total toll from the coronavirus epidemic in the country now at 14,393. Meanwhile, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been discharged from a hospital after being treated for the coronavirus. He singled out two nurses, Jenny McGee from New Zealand and Louis Pitarma from Portugal, for caring for him at his bedside for 48 hours at the most critical time. On the advice of his medical team, he will not immediately return to work and will continue his recovery at his country residence. The UK is facing its fourth week in lockdown, with the government set to review by Thursday whether social distancing measures can be changed. Ministers are required by law to assess whether the rules are working based on expert advice after 3 weeks of telling Britons to stay home. Russia's Ministry of Communications has released a mobile phone app which allows people to have an instant security clearance to leave their homes during the coronavirus lockdown. The ministry said the mobile app was designed for testing and its use is not mandatory. Moscow and many other regions have been in lockdown for nearly 2 weeks to stem the contagion, but the number of cases was on the rise and reached 15,770, while number of fatalities is at 130. The country's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, who is also the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, said that if the US government had taken earlier actions to implement social distancing in mid-February and other effective epidemic prevention and control measures, then there might not have been so many deaths in the country and more lives could have been saved. The US has over 560,000 virus cases and 22,000 deaths, majority in New York. India has reported more than 9,000 coronavirus cases and at least 330 people have died. The first 100 cases were mostly reported in cities, but now more people have tested positive in smaller towns. This has generated a huge demand for protective equipment for doctors and health workers across the country, and state governments are struggling to cope with it.
OPEC producers and allies have agreed to a record oil deal that will slash global output by about 10% after a slump in demand caused by coronavirus lockdowns. The deal agreed yesterday via video conference is the largest cut in oil production ever to have been agreed. OPEC Plus, made up of oil producers and allies including Russia, announced plans for the deal on the 9th of April, but Mexico resisted the cuts. OPEC has yet to announce the deal, but individual nations have confirmed it. The only detail to have been confirmed so far is that 9.7 million barrels per day will be cut by OPEC oil producers and allies. US President Donald Trump and Kuwait's Energy Minister Dr. Khalid al-Mohammed al-Fadhel tweeted the news, while Saudi Arabia's Energy Ministry and Russia's state news agency TASS both separately confirmed the deal yesterday. And that's a wrap of Lunchtime News on TV1 for today. Join us again at 9 tonight for Primetime News on TV1.